It is official, a day many of us never thought would come. Elizabeth Holmes, founder of the defunct blood testing company Theranos, reported to a Texas prison today to begin an 11-year sentence for fraud. It is a dramatic fall from grace for a woman once considered Silicon Valley's golden child. So let's discuss. NBC Bay Area business and technology reporter Scott Budman. He has covered Holmes' rise and fall from the beginning. And Bill Cohen, former Wall Street banker turned journalist and founding partner at Puck News. Scott, you have truly covered Elizabeth Holmes since she was on the absolute top and then down to every last day in the trial, including sentencing day and today. What is your takeaway?
Well, you know, Stephanie, Silicon Valley loves a story like this. I mean, a 19-year-old Stanford dropout who decided to start a technical biology health company. There was so much to this. She raised nearly $1 billion in funding. And again, the young glamour of it all, people got caught up. There were lots of investors, including the DeVos family, Rupert Murdoch, Walgreens, Safeway, lots of VCs, et cetera. And it was great for several years until people found out that it wasn't. And then the crash, like you said, was immediate. The book Bad Blood came out from the Wall Street Journal, then Wall Street Journal reporter John Carreyrou, and everyone was suddenly hip to the idea that Theranos was very likely a fraud. And then came the trial. It lasted for months and months. Holmes very dramatically taking the stand and trying to convince the jury that she wanted to help people and save lives and raise the money for all the right reasons. But when the phone calls were played that showed her literally lying to investors about where the machines were apparently being used when they weren't and how well they worked when they didn't, it all came crumbling down. And then it went from an incredibly high to an incredible low. And that pretty much capped today when we saw her walk into prison.
Bill, did you ever think that day would come, even though we learned that she was an absolute fraudster and a con artist from the get-go? Did you actually think the day would come that Elizabeth Holmes would go to prison?
Well, Stephanie, I have to say I do believe that I thought that this day would come because I still have faith, although it's dwindling in our justice system. I do believe that even rich people can be held accountable for their bad behavior, their criminal behavior. And I'm glad to see that Elizabeth Holmes is walking into that minimum security prison outside of Houston, Texas. I mean, she probably deserves worse than she's going to get for the next 11 years. And it's about time that we had some accountability for the bad behavior of these wealthy, media savvy, corporate executives who think they can con investors and customers.
Scott, and what do you say to those who say, well, there's all sorts of con artists in Silicon Valley? You know, they think about Adam Neumann from WeWork. They think about Sam Bankman-Fried who may end up going to prison. And they're saying she's been unfairly treated because she's a woman. But on the way up, she was treated extraordinarily well, in large part, and got outsized media attention because she was a woman.
Right. And I agree with all of that. All of those things are true. I think she got extra attention. She, as you can see, dressed like Steve Jobs. She idolized Steve Jobs, who is obviously put on a pedestal here in Silicon Valley. And on the way down, much like we like to raise the heroes up, a lot of people like to see them taken down. And there is collateral damage being felt here in Silicon Valley. I talked to a lot of venture capitalists that are here, and especially the female ones right now, and especially in healthcare, say she burned so many bridges and left so much damage behind that even years after Theranos crashed and burned, they are having trouble raising money because of the specter of Elizabeth Holmes. So it's even worse than the other people who maybe exaggerate because there is so much collateral damage that people are still feeling when they try to raise money for legitimate companies.
Then shouldn't this be a dark day, not just for her, but for all of her investors, for her stellar board of directors that back in 2014 and 2015, when she was rising to superstardom, we kept hearing about those amazing, her unbelievable board of superstars that she had. And if they would back her, everyone should be amazed by her. Bill, shouldn't we be questioning them today, Henry Kissinger?
Absolutely, Stephanie Rule. Absolutely. I mean, one of the unsung heroes here is, of course, George Shultz's grandson, who had the cojones to question the mighty and powerful George Shultz, former Secretary of State, who was on the board of Theranos and who was obviously his grandfather. And he was completely wrong. And his grandson was absolutely right about what he saw going on there. But, to your earlier thought about, why is it that, Elizabeth Holmes deserved to be prosecuted and sent to jail, no question about it. Maybe even Martha Stewart did back in the day. I don't know why the women who suffer these mistakes and do this wrongdoing get outside media coverage on the way down. What about our friend Adam Newman, who defrauded or, cost his investors, $47 billion? He gets to rise again through the kindness of other Silicon Valley investors like Andreessen Horowitz for his new company. Andreessen Horowitz wrote a check for $350 million, Stephanie, the biggest investment ever in Adam Newman's new company, but no accountability for Adam Newman. Plenty of well-deserved accountability for Elizabeth Holmes.
Scott, 11 years is a long time. Elizabeth Holmes gave her first interview in years this month, where they called her Liz. She seems to be trying to rebrand herself as a regular mom. And people have said this is going to be so difficult for her children. But there are thousands of women across this country, mothers, with a lot fewer resources in a lot tougher prisons than Elizabeth Holmes is going to be in. And she had her two children after her indictment, right? When she knew that prison was a distinct possibility. What's your take?
That was a surprise, and it's not for any of us to, I guess how people decide to plan families and have kids. But you're right. Usually you see the rehabilitation articles and the PR plans when someone gets out of prison and sort of gets that second chance. And to be fair, we here in Silicon Valley also like second chances. But there is a word for what's going on here, and Bill is absolutely right. It's sexism. Adam Newman got a second chance after spectacularly flaming out. Elizabeth Holmes is on her way to prison for 11 years after spectacularly flaming out. So you can understand trying to do as much rehabilitation as possible, perhaps going in. But because of the circumstances, and 11 years is a long time in the tech world, there is going to have to be a lot more work to be done if she wants to make a comeback on the other end of this.
She's not on her way to prison. She's in the jumpsuit behind bars saying goodnight. Scott Budman, Bill Cohen, great to see you both.